A few smart men changed the course of entire wars with nothing but clever thinking. Throughout history, it wasn't always the strongest army or the biggest empire that won, it was the one with the smartest tactics. From ancient ambushes to modern deception, war has always rewarded one thing above all: strategy. Let's begin with one of the most shocking tricks ever pulled on a battlefield, and it happened in 218 BC. The mighty Roman Empire had never seen anything like it. From across the Alps came Hannibal, the Carthaginian general. But he didn't just march soldiers. He brought something no one expected: war elephants. He had just 50,000 men, up against nearly double that in Roman troops. So what did Hannibal do? He baited the Romans into crossing a freezing river, where his hidden cavalry waited in ambush. They struck from the flanks as the Romans tried to climb ashore, soaked and confused. Thousands died before they even raised a sword. This tactic, surprise, misdirection, and terrain advantage, became a legend, the Battle of Trebia. But Hannibal wasn't done. At Cannae, he pulled off what military historians call the perfect battle. He placed his weakest troops in the center. As the Romans advanced and pushed inward, they were surrounded from all sides by Hannibal's elite forces waiting on the edges. A complete encirclement. The Roman army was crushed in one day, over 50,000 dead. Fast forward 2,000 years. It's 1944. Nazi Germany believes the Allied invasion of Europe will come at Calais. They're wrong. The Allies, led by Dwight D. Eisenhower, pull off one of the greatest deceptions in modern warfare, Operation Fortitude. They create fake radio traffic. They build inflatable tanks. They even convince Hitler that General Patton, a war hero, will lead the attack somewhere else. Then comes D-Day. While Germany waits at the wrong beach, 150,000 Allied troops land in Normandy. By the time the Nazis realize the trick, it's too late. Deception won the beach. But not all tactics are about trickery. Some are about terrain and patience. In 1775, during the Battle of Bunker Hill, American revolutionaries knew they had limited ammo. So they waited. They held their fire until British troops were just 40 yards away. Then came the command: don't fire until you see the whites of their eyes. The British thought they'd crush the rebels easily, but instead, they suffered massive losses. Even though the British technically won the hill, they lost over 1,000 men. The message was clear: this would not be an easy war. And then there's Genghis Khan, the master of psychological warfare. His armies pretended to flee, panicking across the plains. Enemy troops chased them, thinking victory was near, only to be drawn into traps. Surrounding cavalry would suddenly return, cutting off retreat. Genghis didn't just fight battles, he choreographed them like deadly theater. And in Vietnam, guerrilla warfare reached a new level. The Viet Cong didn't have tanks or air support. But they had tunnels, ambushes, booby traps, and knowledge of the terrain. They melted into the jungles, struck without warning, and vanished. The US, with its overwhelming firepower, found itself fighting shadows. Smart tactics turned rifles into ghosts, and victory into frustration. So what do all these stories have in common? They prove one thing: war isn't won by who hits hardest, but who thinks fastest. From fake armies and silent ambushes to calculated retreats and brutal patience, tactics have always shaped the battlefield more than brute force. One brilliant move can outshine an entire army. One trap can rewrite the map. Because in war, brains beat brawn. This is TriviaTales, where history's deadliest moments were written not by strength, but by strategy.